Hi there. Today we're going to learn the most important things every child should know in their very first guitar lesson. Whether you're a parent interested in getting lessons for your child or interested in even learning with your child, then this lesson is fun, simple, and the perfect place to start. So make sure you've got your guitar, a nice comfy chair, and let's jump right in. Before we dive in, here's why you can trust me to guide your child through their first guitar lesson. My name is Benn Allen, and I've spent over 25 years successfully teaching kids how to play guitar. I run Online Guitar for Kids, where we help young beginners build confidence, musical skills, and a love for guitar from day one. Now, this isn't just a random video, it's part of a proven method I've used for hundreds of students, both in person and online. So if you want your child to get off to a great start on the guitar, you're in the right place. I'll never forget one of the first kids I ever taught. His name was Jack. He was only 6 years old. He could barely hold the guitar, was slipping off his leg. But just after one lesson, something clicked, not just musically, but in his confidence. He walked out of that lesson smiling, proudly strumming his guitar, and later that day, he was even teaching his little sister what he'd learned. From that moment on, practice became part of his daily routine, just like brushing his teeth. And the magic was not because he had to, but because he wanted to. And that's the real power of a great first lesson. It's not about playing a full song or getting everything perfect. It's just about making a child feel successful, excited, and curious to keep going. And that's exactly what this lesson is designed to do. Now, learning guitar is like any skill. Small, consistent effort beats occasional big effort. Kids progress much faster when their practice becomes part of their daily routine. Even 5 to 10 minutes a day can make a big difference over weeks and months. Now, progress isn't instant. It's about building muscle memory and confidence over time. Celebrate small wins. Your first chord or your first clean strum or a short melody. It's that compound effect that makes improvements stack up. Just like athletes don't just try occasionally, they train on a schedule, even when they don't feel like it. They track progress, times, distance and scores to measure improvement. Kids can do the same with guitar, just keeping a simple log of what they practice, what felt easier, new chords they learnt, or even simply just tracking their practice time. Kids can do the same with guitar. Keep a simple practice log and just write down however many minutes that you practiced for is a really effective way to not only establish a new routine for yourself or a new habit, but also you can reflect back and look at all the time that you've invested into learning the guitar. This is just another tool for help keeping them motivated. By keeping a simple chart or a practice journal, we can tick off the boxes each day, and it really helps them see streaks and feel proud. Make practice more like a game. So for the parents to help them, it's really more about, taking a genuine interest in what they're learning, as well as cheering them on and really celebrating those more consistent practice streaks rather than what they're actually doing. It's more about celebrating effort rather than results. So the more consistent the practice times are, the less resistance the kids should feel. It's just like brushing their teeth. Over time, it just becomes automatic and it feels wrong if you haven't actually done it for the day. So that's what we're really trying to achieve here, is just for the guitar to become part of their daily routine and part of their lifestyle. Over time, with consistency, it will just become part of who they are and part of their own identity. So you can imagine at school they see little Jack with his guitar on his back, and that was just like me as a kid as well. And they go, oh, there he goes. There's our little guitarist Jack. After a while as well, kids know what to expect, and it also removes the should I practice now, asking that question. It should just become part of what they do every day, just like cleaning their room, hey? So one of the conversations I always have with parents is about committing to ideally a certain time of the day, a consistent time of the day. And especially for the younger kids, I recommend that early in the morning is something to worth try out. I know everybody's routine can be different, but if this is something that's a possibility, even if you can think about, whether your child has a spare 10 minutes in the morning, this could become part of their morning routine. And I've found for a lot of parents and families, this has been a successful way of doing it. And especially, the kids are nice and fresh in the morning rather in the afternoon when they're just overwhelmed from the whole day. So that's something that's a great tip, I think, that I recommend. So as I mentioned before, I recommend even just starting out with just 5 to 10 minutes a day. It's more about these small, consistent, bite-sized pieces. And that is what eventually will build up into a new habit for them. These kind of skills that we're teaching them here is something that is obviously, it's a life skill. So whether or not you want to get fit or lose weight or something, you want to learn a new skill, it's all about establishing that routine for yourself and that new habit. So if we can work on that from a young age, that's more than likely something that you're going to be successful with. So I also recommend not leaving the guitar in its case under the bed. Obviously get it out of its case and have it in a prominent spot, ideally on a guitar stand if you have one available, but having it somewhere where they can easily walk past it each day and look at it and pick it up. And that's what it's all about. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges for most kids when they're first starting or struggle to practice. It's the number one challenge is actually picking the guitar up and having a play of it. So have the guitar in a nice prominent position. Also, I recommend that guitar practice should be structured in a way, or it's like a bit more like a sandwich effect. So we start with something that they're confident on doing, they enjoy doing, and so we're starting on a nice note for them, and then obviously then sandwiching the more challenging things, the more in the middle, and then finishing off with something like a song at the end, something that can end on a great note and have a great confident experience from it. So as part of the G4 guitar method, we have a practice log inside of the program. I've attached that practice log in a link below in the description, the first thing you'll see there. So you're welcome to grab a free copy of that if you just wanted to use that. Alright, so enough of the serious stuff about practice and daily schedules and establishing new habits. Let's get into the fun stuff. Let's start talking about the guitar. So I'm just imagining that you know absolutely nothing about the guitar, so we're going to start from the very beginning. So let's look at the first bit I've just got here. This is what's called a steel string acoustic guitar. So obviously there's different types of guitars. The one that I recommend is actually a nylon string acoustic guitar, or what's also known as a classical guitar. Obviously you can get electric guitars, and that can be something that's worth considering as a beginner style guitar as well, although they do get very loud, whether or not you want that or not. So the electric guitars can be good for young kids because the strings are quite light on the fingers, whereas these steel string acoustic guitars, generally don't recommend these because they are a bit tougher on the fingers, and something that I would look at further on down the track once they get to that sort of intermediate level. So with a nylon string guitar, they have like tennis racket strings on them, at least on strings 1, 2, and 3, which we'll talk about in a minute. But they're much softer on the fingers. So the parts of the guitar we've got is this big bit here down here. This is called the body of the guitar. So with kids, I say it's got no arms and legs. They get a good laugh out of that. So this long bit here as well. This is what's long on a giraffe. We get the long neck, obviously. This is the neck of the guitar. And then above it here, we've got what we call the head. So, we can relate this to like a little person, our little guitar buddy. So off the head of the guitar, we have these things here, which are called tuning pegs or tuning keys. Okay? So the tuning pegs we've got, and recommend that we try to keep those away from our younger siblings as well, so they're not touching them. And I'll have in other videos as well how to tune your guitar. So there's lots of great apps out there, but that's for another lesson. So then we've got the tuning pegs. Now on top of the neck of the guitar here, there's the flat section, we've got these lines and spaces, okay? So these are called frets. So, and the frets are actually numbered from number 1 at the end of the guitar here, just where the neck meets the head, that's fret number 1. And then we go up, count up from there. So some guitars have more frets than others. The electric guitars generally have a few more frets. So it doesn't matter though, at the moment, when we're first starting on the guitar, we're generally working out of what's called the open position, which is generally around the first 3 frets of the guitar. All right, so that's so far we've got the body, the neck, the head, the tuning pegs, and the frets. So now moving on, we have these things, which are called strings. And we can count the strings. On a guitar, we have 6 strings, and the strings are numbered from number 1 being the thinnest string. Then we got string number 2, 3, 4, 5, and string number 6 being the thickest string, or the lowest sounding string. So a game you can play when you are practicing is you could play one of the strings on the guitar and then get your child to name the number of the string. And make up also, you can obviously be as creative as you want with this, and also naming the parts of the guitar is a great place to start. And that's something as well I've seen a lot of kids do, is even they'll start teaching their siblings as well, all the parts of the guitar, and really take ownership over playing the instrument. So we've got the strings of the guitar. The next part we're going to talk about. Now, whether or not your child is left-handed or right-handed, if they are left-handed, I encourage them to, I always encourage my students to try to go with that, and if you can have access to a left-handed guitar, that's something I recommend that you do. So, I'm actually left-handed. Personally, I'm left-handed, but I play right-handed now because when I was learning the guitar, I didn't have access to a left-handed guitar, so now I play right-handed. So I guess I'm ambidextrous. But yeah, I can't play left-handed guitar. But I wonder if I would have been an even better guitarist if I could actually play left-handed guitar. But anyway, that's something that I'll never know. So moving on, we've got, if we are learning on, let's say you're learning on as right-handed, we're going to talk about what's called your fretting hand, which is the left hand. If you're playing left-handed guitar, this would be your right hand. All right. So with the left hand, our fretting hand, the fingers are numbered. Number 1 is our pointer. Number 2 is the middle finger. Number 3, the ring finger. Number 4 is our pinky. And then this guy, the thumb, it's not number 5. It's actually T. T for thumb. All right. So that's our fretting hand. And the last thing I want to talk about with this is actually the musical alphabet. So in my program, I believe it's all about building up a strong foundation, a strong musical foundation. So I believe that learning to read music and understanding the language of music is a vital part for that. And it's a skill that they can take with them and be able to transfer onto essentially any other instrument. So I think that's a great important thing of a foundation for them to learn. So to start with, we talk about what's called the musical alphabet. The musical alphabet is actually only 7 letters. It's very simple, and they happen to be the first 7 letters of our standard alphabet, which is A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. So you could also test them out by playing a game where you ask them to say the musical alphabet backwards. So I love playing that game with kids because you can really see their brain ticking over. Okay, so the next basic skill we're going to talk about is counting. So in music, we can count in various ways, but for now, to start out with, we're just going to be counting in groups of 4. So hopefully your child can count to 4. So what we're going to be doing now, I'm going to play, which is a great fun thing to do, is going to put actually the guitar down and play a clapping game. So what we're going to do is count over and over again in groups of 4, repeating, and each time we do that, we're going to be clapping on certain numbers. So you can be as creative with this as you want and practice clapping on different ones. Now for the first exercise, what we're going to do is as we count and get them to count with you, we count 1, 2, 3, 4 and repeat 1, 2, 3, 4. So now the first skill or the first exercise is to clap only on beat number 1. Alright, so here we go. So in music as well, we have what's called a count-in. So we count to 4 first. It's kind of like saying ready, set, go. Instead, in music, we count to 4. And that way we know that's our cue for when to come in on the next round. Alright, so this is the count-in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we clap on 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so do that around 4 times. And then let's move on to the next exercise. The next challenge is clapping on beat number 1 as well as beat number 3. So don't clap on 2, don't clap on 4. Alright, so doing the count in 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, well done. That's great. So hopefully you're able to keep up. Alright, so the next step is we're going to look at clapping on beat number 1, 2, 3 and beat number 4. So all of the beats. Here we go. Counting in. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can even speed up. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So we could even do that if you want. Alright, so it's all about having fun, making each one of the things that we learn a lot of fun. Alright? So now what I want to talk about is a special tool that helps us build up good, what we call timing skills. So as we count, as we clap, we want to have something that helps us keep in perfect beat or perfect rhythm. So there's a tool called a metronome. I'll put in the description, I'll put some links to some metronomes that I recommend. In the olden days, they look, there's probably got a picture here where you can see the olden day metronome, what it looked like, and it used to have a needle on it that ticked backwards and forward. So, but these days, obviously, we can get everything in the digital age as an app on your phone or your iPad. So, actually, I had a student the other day even say that they just asked Google if they could have a metronome playing at a certain speed, and it just appeared out of nowhere. So, that's the beauty of today's technology. So we have access to all the tools that we need and for free a lot of the time. Alright, so the metronome is what we would use then to try to practice doing the clapping exercise, playing along with the beat of the metronome. So this is the metronome I recommend. It's called Pro Metronome, but you don't have to do that. I've got no affiliate with it or anything. But no matter what metronome that you use, our first speed that we're going to look at doing is just 60 BPM. Alright? And that way we can work on clapping along with the metronome. Some of them have visual cues on them as well, so that can help with the child as well. They can actually watch the beats as they're going. So anything that can help them establish those basic rhythm skills and timing skills to start with is really good. All right, so that's the metronome, pretty straightforward. So now what I want to talk about is a special way that I teach all my students to hold the guitar, and it's actually what's called the classical position. You'll see a lot of other guitarists, possibly see other guitarists holding the guitar over on if they're right-handed, on their right leg, like this. That's a popular way for holding the guitar. But I actually teach in what's called the classical position, which is having it sitting on your left leg. So, and also having the leg raised. And there's a tool called a footstool that you can get that's specifically for this reason. And so the footstool is raising the leg. So now what's happened here, now that I'm in, the reason for this, I recommend this position is, you can see now my shoulders are straight, all right? And also my back is straight as well. So we want to make sure you're in a good chair to start with. So, and ideally having your back off, sitting up straight and not leaning all the way back on the chair. And so even just sliding forward to the edge of the chair. And we're having our left leg raised slightly. And you'll also see the guitar neck is on what's called a 45-degree angle as well. All right, so that way it gives us good access from this hand as well as the guitar is nice and centered over the body, and we've got a good visual of the strings on the guitar and good, nice, easy access to the neck up here with our left hand, as well as, and just having our arm coming over and just resting on this edge bit here. So this is something to practice, and something you can do is just get your child to take the guitar off them, get them to stand up, do a spin around in a circle, and then sit back down and then hold their guitar again in this position. So getting them used to holding it in this position. After playing myself for 35 odd years and doing lots of gigs and all that sort of stuff, I do over 100 shows a year. I certainly know all about back posture and what bad back posture and holding the guitar in the wrong way can certainly do to you. So if I'd have had someone teach me how to hold the guitar in this position and practice in this position from the beginning, I would be very thankful. So this is what's called the classical position, so you can practice this one. So now what I want to talk about is rhythm basics. So to start with, I want to talk about what's called a musical staff. So in normal, what they call standard music notation, we have a system called a staff, a music staff, or some people say stave. I'm really not sure which one's right. So probably depends what country you're in. So basically all it is, it consists of 5 lines and 4 spaces in between each one of the lines. And that's our musical staff. So, what we also have in the musical staff are these lines going down, and they're called bar breaks. So in between each one of those lines going down is what we call 1 bar. And as we've been doing so far, we've been counting to 4 in groups of 4. So each group of 4 is what we essentially call 1 bar. All right, so now the next thing I want to talk about, in a musical stave, they can have some numbers at the beginning of a piece of music. And the numbers sit on top of each other, and what we've been doing at the moment is doing what's called 4/4 beats to the bar. Okay, so that's what 4/4 stands for. It's also called common time for those enthusiasts out there. So moving on now, the next thing I want to talk about with the musical staff, a basic function is where they have 2 lines, and this can indicate the end of a section. So what we're going to do now, we're going to show you some basic rhythm exercises, which consist of 4 bars for each rhythm exercise. So let's talk about some rhythm symbols. So the first rhythm symbol I want to talk about is called a whole note. All right, so a whole note is usually in normal standard music notation, it looks like just a hollow circle. But for now, I'm going to be showing you it in what's basically for basic rhythm exercises, it's just more of a generic symbol, but it actually looks like a diamond. It's more like it's out of Minecraft or something like that. If music was written in Minecraft, this is what it would look like. So it's a diamond shape, and the whole note has the value of 4 beats. So that means that we don't play on each beat of the bar. It's a long note. So we would play on the first beat of the bar, beat number 1, let it ring out over beat 2, beat 3, and beat 4. So it's a long note, all right? So in the first challenge that I'm giving you here is we're basically playing on the first beat of the bar, on beat number 1, letting it ring over beat 2, 3, and 4, then repeating that for 4 bars, 4 times in a row. So we can do this either as a clapping exercise, if you're not ready to play, if your child's not ready to play the guitar yet, or we can just strum, practice strumming our guitar and strum on the beat that we need to play on. Whether you have a pick, you own a pick yet or not, you could just use your thumb or fingers to brush across, and this is just good fun. All right. If you wanted to, you could also mute the strings up here with the left hand. So by muting the strings, what I mean by that is just gently touching the strings here, so they just don't make a sound, they make more of a percussive sound, so more of a drum sound, or even like a snare drum, and we can just do that. So it's still got the same effect, but it's more focusing on our right hand, on our strumming hand for now. All right, that's what rhythm is all about. It's more comes from our right hand, from our strumming hand. All right, so let's try. So this is similar to what we did before when we were doing the clapping, but now we're just going to do some strumming. So strumming on the first beat of each bar. So using my metronome, I'm going to set my metronome to 60 BPM. So 60 is a great speed. And keep in mind, if this is too fast, you can always slow down. All right. So the best way to avoid making mistakes is to slow down. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. So that's the first exercise. I have this as each one of these exercises as a download in the description below. Feel free to grab a copy of that for yourself. It also has the guitar basic parts and everything that we talk about, as well as the practice log sheet in it as well. So you can grab a free copy of that just below this video. So now we're going to move on to the next exercise. These new symbols are called half notes. So a half note looks very similar to a whole note. So it's just a circle, a hollow circle, but now it has what looks like a tail, but it's actually called a stem. So the stem can either point up or down depending on where it's sitting on the musical staff in standard music notation. But it makes no difference to the value of the note. So if a whole note is worth 4 beats, a half note is, you guessed it, is worth 2 beats. So if we have, in the case of these exercises, we have 2 half notes in the 1 bar. So that means that we're going to be strumming on beat 1 for 1 half note, and it rings out over beat 2. And then we have the new half note at beat 3 of the bar, and it's going to ring out over beat 4. So basically we're just strumming on beat 1 and 3 of the bar, just like we did before when we were doing the clapping exercises. So I'm going to grab my guitar pick for this one. So I'll talk about guitar picks in another lesson. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. Hopefully you're able to keep up with me there. All right, so moving on to the next exercise, we've got what's called quarter notes. So these ones in this generic or this particular rhythm font that we're using, they look a little bit like hockey sticks. In real music, they look like a circle, a colored in circle with a stem on them. All right, so they look very similar to the half notes, but they're colored in. And quarter notes are to the value of 1 beat. So in the case of these exercises, we have 4 quarter notes in the 1 bar. So we have 1 for beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, and beat 4 of the bar. So let's now strum on every beat of the bar. So I'm going to put my metronome back on. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So hopefully you were able to keep up with that one. So now what I call the extra challenge is moving on to a combination. And this one, in the case of this one, it's a combination of whole notes and half notes. So we can see the first bar, we've got a whole note. So it means we strum on beat 1 of the bar only. Then in the next bar, we have 2 half notes. So it means we strum on beat 1 and 3 of the bar. Then in third bar, we have beat 1 and 2 half notes again, playing on beats 1 and 3. And then we have a whole note for the last bar. All right, so this is a little bit more trickier because we've got a combination and we need to follow along with the music rather than just think that we have to play on a certain beat of the bar. So it's all about, this is the very first step of being able to read music, which is really exciting. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So hopefully it went well there. If not, that's okay. It's all about practice and getting better as we go. And remember, as I said before, you can always slow down. So now moving on to the next one, I call this one the super challenge, is we've got, in the first bar, we've got 2 half notes followed by 4 quarter notes, then moving on to a whole note in bar 3, and then we have 2 half notes at the end. All right, so a little bit trickier now, so we've really got to focus on following the beats as they go. And as a parent, if you're assisting your child with this, one great thing that you can do is even just use a pointer or any form of pointer like a pen or pencil, and just even touch the beats as we go along to help assist them. And then eventually, once you feel that they've got a clear understanding of the exercise, then you can eventually take that away from them and try to get them to do it unassisted. All right. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. So hopefully that went well. And just for one more rhythm exercise now, we're going to do this one I call the Ultra Challenge. So this one, we've got actually a combination of different rhythm values in the same bar. So in bar 1, we start out with a half note, which again is worth the value of 2 beats. So we'd strum on beat 1 and then let it ring out over beat 2. But then after beat 2 and beat 3, we've got a quarter note, and then we've got another quarter note on beat 4 as well. So the way that would be done is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So this might be something that you just practice on its own first before going ahead and trying to do the full exercise. So just breaking things down into smaller, manageable steps is always helps us maintain a certain level of confidence in what we're doing and avoiding mistakes as we go. All right. So the next bar, we have two half notes. So playing on beat 1, let it ring out over beat 2. Play on beat 3, let it ring out over beat 4. Then we've got another one of these combinations in bar 3 where we'd start beat 1 with the quarter note, then quarter note on beat 2. Then on beat 3 we have a half note, so we'd strum beat 3, let it ring out over beat 4. Alright, so in the last bar, in the 4th bar, we just have a whole note. Alright, so we can get dramatic with that, do a big Elvis move where we just strum and put our hand in the air like that. That's just me though, that's how I like to do things. Alright, so here I'm going to play the whole exercise, but you don't have to do it straight away. As I mentioned before, you can break these down and just practice one bar at a time if you need to, or a combination of different bars, bar 1 and bar 2, and build up until you can play the whole thing. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So hopefully that was successful. If not, that's more than fine. This is the first, if this is your very first time, this is your very first guitar lesson. It's totally understandable if this is something you need to practice. So as I said before, just follow the link in the description below. So hopefully you've enjoyed this lesson, and if you enjoyed what I've taught you and spoken about so far, and you enjoy the program and the concepts that we've spoken about, feel free to visit the website onlineguitarforkids.com and see if the lessons are available in your area. So it's my mission to make quality guitar lessons available for the whole world and from the comfort and convenience of your home. So we're slowly building up our team of teachers that you'll be able to have access to, and they'll all be trained and certified in the G4 Guitar Method program. So thanks again for watching the lesson, and feel free to watch all of my other videos. All right, thank you.